All right. I'm afraid that you know what's happening. I'm afraid that you know what's going on right now. We are ranking, we are putting it on a tier list, all the Lecrae albums right now. We're going to go right into it based on the order of what I see right here on the list. So we got all of them. We're going to start with After the Music Stops. That's what we got first on our list here. So after the music stops, say what you want to say. If it holds up today, if it doesn't, you could say a lot of it doesn't hold up today, but I think some of the tracks actually surprisingly do hold up well. We're getting some of this early 2000s crunk and southern hip hop style. Think a la Ludacris, some Rockefeller, Jay-Z. And I really do enjoy it. Some of my favorite songs are Jesus music, riding with my top down, listening to this Jesus music. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. It's Your World. Praying For You, man, when Praying For You came out, it blew my mind. But a big part of me is nostalgic for this album and what Lecrae is doing here in a time where Christian hip hop was a lot more explicit in his messaging, in my opinion. So the music here, it wasn't always clever. The lyrics weren't always top notch, but it wasn't hiding its message, which I really appreciate. So I'm going to start us off here putting After the Music Stops into the B tier. And I feel good about that. And next we have Gravity, and I'm not going to lie, my nostalgia might actually blind me here, but just from hearing those first beautiful synth chords, the synth pad on the title track Gravity, oh, it's so good, and you know that we're in for a good time. Just from top to bottom as a body of work, this album was such an accomplishment for Lecrae at the time. It actually got him his first Grammy. And so I feel like just with everything here, the production, the lyrics, and the features are amazing. This is some good, peak prime Lecrae right here. And I'll say, with a lot of some other stuff we're going to get into, I feel like some of the songs haven't aged amazingly, but it doesn't matter in this case because the substance is still there. Some of my favorite songs are Gravity, Fakin', Power Trip, Lucky Ones, just to name a few. But I will say, though, I think Lecrae, he raises the stakes. He ups the ante a little bit more on some other projects. So I think on this one, I'm going to go high A tier. We're going to go right there. Next, we have Let the Trap Say Amen. And I'll say this one is just not my favorite. It's not my favorite at all. I remember when it came out, I was so disappointed. I had my hopes up really high, but it really just sounded like Lecrae if he was the fourth unofficial member of the Migos. I never was crazy about Zaytoven as a producer, but even then you add Lecrae who's doing more of this mumble rap style. It contrasts this early Lecrae stuff that we're talking about here, what he's used to get up to that point, and it was just pretty confusing for me. And I'm just not really understanding what he's trying to say on some of these tracks, and it's confusing because the lyrics are kind of like he's cosplaying like a secular artist, and he's like, yeah, I've got money, I've got cars, I've got clothes, is what I would say if I didn't have Jesus. Kind of doing this weird, I'm secular, but I'm not type rap. So I even gave it another shot. I re-listened to it, and it doesn't hold up for me. So I will say my favorite track on this is Get Back Right. I do like that song, but not a huge fan of this one. And it's unfortunately, I don't want to be too harsh, but I think I got to put it in the D tier. I can't stomach this one. I really can't. But one I can stomach is this next one. We have CC3, Church Close 3, one of my favorites. And man, Lecrae's just getting into his lyrical bag on this one. Anything that has that Church Close tag attached to it has a totally different context to it. It just holds a different weight. So what surprises me when I go back and I re-listen to this album is that it doesn't sound dated at all. The production is top notch. The lyricism is top notch. And I'll say this is one of the few times where I listened to a Lecrae album and when it came out, he sounded ahead of the curve. It wasn't just he's trying to reach the same level as his contemporaries, but he was actually trying to do something original and different, something a little bit more groundbreaking. And so I also like too that Lecrae, he focuses more on social commentary, the Black experience in America. It shines through a lot more in the lyrics on this. And I like that this is the first time I feel like he really decided to go all in on that. And we see a lot more. He uses it a lot more freely in some of his later projects. But I feel like this is the album where he goes all in on the socio-political climate, talking about that. and observation and critique, which I just think is Lecrae, like as a human, like that. I think it's important that he talks about what he wants to talk about and what's really on his heart. So I can't not put this one in the S tier. I think it deserves our first S tier. And I don't know, like say what you want. I feel like it's not one of the more like talked about Lecrae projects or albums, but I don't think I could skip anything on this one. We got songs like It Is What It Is, Gangland, Deja Vu, Cruising, Misconceptions 3. My goodness. Nearly the whole track list I could talk about. So Church Close 3 is our first S tier. And next we got Restoration, which it's another S tier. It's another S tier. So before this, Lecrae took some years off of making music. We kind of had this hiatus from Lecrae. And so this feels like a true return to form when he released this. He really bolstered his faith. He doubled down on the messaging and the lyrics of that. And it's just a culmination of Lecrae as a musician and is also basically the godfather of Christian hip hop. He's reminding us like, hey, I basically have the whole industry at my disposal. So we get all these amazing features, all this amazing production. Sonically, it's some of the best music Lecrae has ever put out. And I just love that we have the themes of redemption and restoration. It just makes it so sweet. Some of my favorite tracks are Deep In, Zombie, Nothing Left to Hide, and not to mention that the deluxe version of this album adds even more amazing tracks like Come Through Jesus and Restored. So I think I got to give it that S tier. I think it belongs there. One of my favorites for sure. Next, we have All Things Work Together, and I think Lecrae looks tired, kind of fed up on this album cover, and I think he sounds that way too. I would say that this is the most tired Lecrae has sounded in any of his music, and that's actually not necessarily a bad thing. I think he leans into his struggle and his doubt on this one. He's very brutally honest in some of these songs, like Can't Stop Me Now is a highlight, and 828. But we somehow also get some of his like biggest hits on here. It's sneakily all over the track list. It almost plays like this Lecrae compilation album, which I don't think was intentional. Like I think some of the songs on there just got that big, thinking of Blessings and I'll Find You, like some of the most radio-friendly songs that broke through on the Billboard hits and charts and all that. So it just plays out that way. I love a lot of the songs on here. I think it's undeniably solid. And for me personally, it's just one of my all-time favorite Lecrae albums. So I think I gotta put it on the A tier. I like this one a lot. So next we have Rebel. And I think we get some of the Lecrae here that the earliest Lecrae fans really fell in love with. This time around, it's still got some of the earlier Southern hip-hop sound that was on after the music stops, but there's like an extra push on this one. The beats hit a little bit harder. The rhymes are a little heftier. We get one of the all-time Lecrae bangers in Don't Waste Your Life. We get Go Hard featuring Tadashi, I think is on that one. It's just some of the early tracks that were everywhere in every youth group, at every church camp in the early 2010s, late 2000s. Some of the good times there where I was a part of that. So, and I think it's so formative for Lecrae. I think I'm going to put this one on the B tier just because of what it meant for Lecrae in his career at the time. And then we talk about Anomaly. Well, Anomaly it's almost in a tier of its own, I got to say. In the same breath of Gravity, this is where we saw Lecrae really become Lecrae, like the household name. I mean, when I think of like a quintessential Lecrae album, this is the one. It literally has his face scanned on there. We're getting him inside, out, from front to back. This thing is incredible. And the fact that this album went number one on the Billboard 200, beating out Maroon 5, I don't think we talk about like how crazy that is. Like it is very insane that a Christian hip hop album went number one. And so I talk about that, but also the music itself is just amazing. We get the intro Outsiders, which is a great tone setter. And then we get into like each song individually, which is just so focused topically. I love the songs Welcome to America, Say I Won't, Dirty Water, Fear, and they still hit today, in my opinion. I don't know if anything can truly top Anomaly. We'll see. It's up there. It's up there in the S tier. At the end, I'm going to actually put them in each respective ranking in like a ranking order. So we'll do that at the end. But for now, that's going in S tier. All right, CC2. This was more of a vibe than anything else when it came out. I will say it aged pretty poorly, but looking at the songs from a songwriting standpoint and what it was for the time that it came out, this thing was kind of hot. It had Believe, I'm Turned, Finer Things, some really fun tracks that I can still get down with. So Since it's aged a good bit, I'm going to put it in C tier just because it doesn't hold up. But it has some songs that I still listen to and I still enjoy today. Now we got Church Clothes. I'm going to focus on the mixtape, not the one that's on streaming. The full classic mixtape that came out. And this was not just like on streaming, like I said. This is either YouTube or SoundCloud. You can listen to it on there. For me, I had to listen to it on DatPiff when it came out. But we get a true mixtape hosted by Don Cannon. And Lecrae is leaning all the way into being a Christian rapper. Emphasis on the rapper on this one. The songs flow into one another. We get sample-driven instrumentals and a young Lecrae with something to prove. The title track, Church Clothes, broke the internet when it came out, and I have just such a fondness for this project and what it means for Christian music. It really trailblazed the way for all the other Church Clothes projects that followed this one, and I really love this. Some of my favorite tracks are Church Clothes, Rise, Long Time Coming, and it's just incredible stuff. I gotta give it S tier. And I know what you're saying, Cam, that's a lot of S tier. It's a lot of top heavy. Well, Lecrae is that guy, and I will also say we're about to get into some of the other projects that admittedly may not make it to the top. So we got Rehab here. If Lecrae had eras, Rehab would be its own era. It was a special time for those who enjoyed Christian hip hop. And it was one of those ones that you either had to have on like CD format or iPod shuffle. And it was just banger after banger. Like a lot of these older albums, some of these songs just don't age the best. But come on, we got Killa, Just Like You, 40 Deep, Background. I mean, this was goated when it came out. B tier, I'm going to give it B tier, but I'm going to give it top of the B tier if we're going to rank it that way here in a bit. Now we got Real Talk. It's Lecrae's first album, and it's his first album. We'll just put it at that. I haven't listened to this one a whole lot, but I will say the first Lecrae song that I ever heard was Crossover, which is on this album. Listening to the whole thing right now, it just sounds very dated, and you could tell Lecrae is finding his footing, and so I'm going to put this one on the C tier. I think that's where it belongs. Now we have Rehab, Overdose. Like I said, Lecrae had his Rehab era. But honestly, I've listened to this album the least out of all the albums. And so re-listening to it, yeah, I think it's probably for a good reason. I think this is just some of the B-sides, some of the throwaway tracks from Rehab, because Rehab was pretty good. But this one is just kind of meh. So I like Chase That and Like That. But beyond that, I can't say I love any track as much as those. So it's just very specific to the time period, and it doesn't hold up very well. Unfortunately, I'm going to throw this one in the D tier. Next, we have a collaboration album, No Church in a While, with 1K Few. And I think this one's fun. It's a good time. It's B tier. I'm just going to throw it out there. It's B tier. And I don't always love Lecrae when he does these collaborations because he's doing more emulating than being who he is. But I think 1K Few actually brings something really good out of Lecrae here. And I don't always love melodic singing Lecrae, but I think it works more than it doesn't on this album. Wildin' is a song I still frequent a lot. Move is a song that's viral right now, like 4 years later. So I'll say it's a really good time, and I can't hate it. I think it's refreshing to hear Lecrae having fun on this one. Now we got CC4, Church Clothes 4, and it's just nasty. I'm just going to say it like it is. It's nasty. Lecrae does something on this album that I can't quite put my finger on. He kind of goes unk status on us. He's older. He's wiser. He has less of a filter, but he says everything still very carefully and meticulously. So I'll come out and say, this is my favorite Lecrae album. I'm not going to hide it. I'm going to go ahead and just throw it up here on the S tier. You got songs like Spread the Ops, Dirt, Still in America. They're bangers. And we get some like introspective songs as well, like Journey and Reconstruction. Take Me Up is an all-timer with What Up RG on the hook and a Bone Thugs and Harmony sample. So no skips on this one. No notes. Lecrae is at his best on this album. And then we have Get Well Soon, collaboration album with Miles Minnick. And it's just not my cup of tea. Like I said, collaborations are kind of hit or miss for me. So I'm not personally a huge fan of this one, or I'm honestly not a huge fan of Miles Minnick. I hope he proves me wrong at some point, but he's really popular. He's a force in Christian hip hop. I'll say that. But some of the music just kind of sounds more trendy or like a fad than the substance I'm looking for. But not to say it doesn't have fun here. It does have fun. I like the method and just the consistent nod to G-Funk that this project has, but definitely not my favorite. I'm going to put it in D tier. And lastly, we have the newest album from Lecrae, Reconstruction, which I actually did a review on my last video if you want to go check it out. But yeah, I think Lecrae sounds great on this. There are a few songs that kind of feel like a mixed bag, but overall, I think the highs are just so high on this one. I love the songs My Story, Bless You, Headphones, and Die for the Party belongs at the top of like those Lecrae songs that are just the best of the best. So overall, it's inspiring to hear Lecrae sound like this 10 albums in. He sounds good, and I'm going to put it on the A tier right there. So now we're going to get into a formal ranking of where I'm going to put each one. So looking at the top here, actually, let's start from the bottom. Let's go from the bottom. I'm going to say Let the Trap Say Amen. Not my favorite. You know what? I think I'm going to move Get Well Soon up. As much as I don't love it, I think it's better than these two down here. So I'm going to keep that like that. We got that, Let the Trap Say Amen, Rehab, Overdose, Get Well Soon. Yeah, I'm going to leave Real Talk there, Church Close 2 there. No Church in a While, I think belongs there. Rebel, or Rehab, Rebel. They're kind of toss up there. I'm going to say Rehab is a little bit better. And then I think I like After the Music Stops leading our B tier. No, you know what? I think I like Rehab the most. Out of all the songs, it's got more bangers. It's a little bit deeper. And I would get into A tier where this gets a little harder. But, I think Gravity, as important as it is, I think I like All Things Work Together a little bit more, just a personal taste. And I think I like Reconstruction right here where it's at. So now we have the top tier. And like I said, these are the best of the best. Church Close 4 is probably my favorite Lecrae album, but as far as importance and just the overall, just because I like it the most doesn't mean that it's his like best, So I'm gonna put it right up here. And I think Church Close we can put I think I can't put it above Restoration. I just can't. And an Anomaly here. Anomaly I think goes to the top. I think it has to. And I'm going to switch these two here. So now to round out the whole rankings here in the S tier, we have Anomaly, Church Close 4, Church Close 3, Restoration, and the first Church Close. And then in the A tier, we have All Things Work Together, Gravity, Reconstruction, B tier, Rehab, After the Music Stops, Rebel, No Church in a While. C tier, Church Close 2, Real Talk, Get Well Soon. And then to round it all out, in the D tier, we have Rehab, The Overdose, and Let the Trap Say Amen. So that is my definitive ranking of all the Lecrae albums. I want to hear what you think. What are your opinions? What are some of the hot takes you have here? I know that I have some hot takes in this video as well. So let me know what you think. And I can't wait to see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.